Okay, so welcome back. In today's video, I want to show you how we can create virtual environments. Currently, we know about global environments, and we said the moment we install Python in our computers, we are running in what we call the global environment. And so I can either be in the global environment or I can be in a virtual environment. So I can go back and forth between these two environments. And so let me run my terminal, which is my command prompt, and I'm going to make it bigger so that you guys can actually see. And so currently in here, whatever Python command or pip command that I'm going to run is going to run in the global environment. And so if I say Python and Python 3 on those who are on Macs, if I press enter, you can actually see I have an interpreter here, and this interpreter is running in what we call the global environment. Yeah, that's fine. And so I can exit this, and yeah, it's okay. I can also pip list. I can press enter, and you can actually see the package and the version which are installed in the global environment. And so I'm going to clear this by writing CLS, which is clear screen. Okay, so the need for global environments is pretty obvious, right? We need some kind of a Python version that is going to be running on your computer. However, the need for virtual environments might not be so clear to most people, but it comes clear when you have this. Let's say you have a dependency called Django, and you want one of your projects to use version 3 and another one to run version 4. This is where you see the need for a virtual environment. So it means you have to isolate your projects into a number of environments, whereby one environment has its own dependencies and another its own dependencies, which are not going to be interacting with one another. This is where we need virtual environments. And so I'm going to create project 1 and show you how you can actually install this version of Django, which is quite different from the one that we have in the global environment. Of course, I can also go on to create project 2 and project 3. And so the way I want to do it, I prefer doing it in an organized manner. And so on my computer, I have the D drive, and inside this D drive, I have a folder called projects. This is where I put my project. And so the way I do it, I create a project, and then inside that particular project, this is where I'm going to put my virtual environment. And so in D, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say CMD, which is short for command, and this is going to open a command terminal in this path, okay, inside the D directory, inside projects. And so what I'm going to do, let me make this bigger so that you guys can actually see what is going on. I'm going to turn this into a PowerShell. All right, so PowerShell is an advanced command interface which allows me to enter advanced commands. For instance, I can enter Linux commands in here. By the way, you can tell that you are in PowerShell mode if you see this PS in front of your path over here. And so what we want to do is inside projects, we want to see ls is short for list. And so inside PS, I can use this list, ls command. If I press enter, you can see what I do have here is I have D is for directory. And so I have these directories 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So inside here, this is where I want to create my project directory. And so using this order over here, I'm going to say mkdir, which is short for make directory. By the way, it's down here, mkdir, and then the name of the directory that I want to create. I want to create a directory called project 1. So if I press enter, you can see now we have a directory created inside the path. Okay, so if I ls again, you can now see now I have project 1 here. Okay, I have one more directory inside this particular path. And so what we want to do, we want to get inside that directory because this is where we want to create our virtual environment. And so we can do it by using, let me clear screen. CLS, it simply means clear screen. So let's use CD to say change directory. We want to change directory into project 1. So the moment we get into project 1, if I ls into project 1, there's nothing in there because we've just created this particular directory. So we want to create our virtual environment inside there. So why do we want to create this virtual environment? Because we want to isolate any packages that we install in this particular project from any other project that we might be running. Okay, so this makes life easier for us when it comes to testing. So we're going to use this Python in our global environment to create these other virtual environments. Okay, so I'm going to say Python 3 for those who are on Mac or Linux, and then we're saying module. Okay, so there's a module in there in the Python, in this Python, which is in the global environment, which we call venv. This is the module that we are looking for, and we use it to create virtual environments. That's the name. And then you can name the virtual environment that you want to create. So I want to create a virtual environment called Vert. Obviously, it's not going to be called project 1. It's going to be called Vert. It's a virtual environment. It's not a project, so that I can run my project in that virtual environment. So I'm going to call it Vert. You can name it whatever you want. I've seen this convention .venv. Some people prefer to name it this, but I don't want to name it that. I want to name it Vert. This is my own convention. If I press enter, then this command, which is running in the global environment, allowing us to create a virtual environment, is going to create a virtual environment called Vert for us. Okay, so we give it a few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh yeah, bang, we got our virtual environment. It's done. Right, so if I clear screen again, and then if I ls now, we are going to see a folder called Vert in this project 1, and so that is our virtual environment. And so let's just look through this particular folder. So project 1, Vert is what we created. So Vert, inside Vert we have include, which has nothing, lib, which is going to be where our packages will go. Whatever package we're going to install is going to be installed in here. So it comes with pip and setup tools. These are the two packages it comes along with. And then we have scripts, which is going to be what we use for activation, deactivation, to run the pip command, and also to run the Python command. All right, so this is what we have. And then we have this configuration file, which is pyvenv. You don't necessarily need to understand what is going on here, but you just need to have an idea of what is inside there. And so this is your virtual environment that you have created. Now we want to activate our virtual environment. But before we activate our virtual environment, we need to be clear of what is in the global environment. And so I'm going to go here and say, now I have two instances of this. You can see Windows PowerShell. I just opened up two instances. So what I'm going to do in one instance, I'm going to say pip, not pip install, but pip list. And so you can see this is what I have in the global environment. Okay, I already have this in the global. So for us to see in the what is in the virtual environment, we have to activate. And so how do we activate? Let me clear screen so that you guys can actually see. If you're on Windows, you can just write the name of your virtual environment. In this case, ours is called Vert. You might have named it different. This is the name you need to write. / scripts, and then / activate. And then press enter. You can see what happens. You know, the name of the virtual environment is written here. Before this part, you can actually see. Now it simply means we have activated our virtual environment. If you are on a Mac or on a Linux, you need to write source space name of your virtual environment. In this case is called Vert / not / and then bin, and then / activate. Okay, so this scripts on a Mac is called bin. Okay, so where do we find this? If I go back, Vert, scripts, and then activate. This is where we are, finding the scripts to actually activate our virtual environment. All right, so now we are in the virtual environment, and so we can confirm by this. This is the name of the virtual environment. It's called Vert. If it was venv, we would find venv here, or whatever name we might have given our virtual environment. And so what we want to do is we want to check. We can say pip list. Now, whatever pip or Python command that I run currently is going to run in the virtual environment, not in the global environment. And so if I press enter right now, you will see what comes up. There are only 2 packages. These are the 2 packages that comes when you install any Python. Okay, so we have installed Python in a virtual environment, and so it comes with pip and setup tools. These are the 2. If you want to compare with what is in the global environment, you can see this is what is in the global environment. And so if you are not in the global environment, you are in a virtual environment, that's how it works. And so if I clear screen now we can say that we want to install this particular version of Django. And so for project 1, we said version 2. Let me try and install version 3. Okay, so I'm going to say pip install. I'm not just going to say Django, I'm going to specify the version. So I said we need 3.0.0. This is what we need. And so if I press enter, going to run through the installation, and you can see other dependencies that Django needs. Django requires PyTZ, it requires SQL parse, etc., etc. These are the other dependencies that Django requires. And so the moment you say you want to install Django of a specific version, it's going to come with its own dependencies. If it was Django version 2, maybe we might not have required this and this. We might have only required this. These are the the dependencies of a particular version of your installation. Okay, so now if I say pip lists, you can see now we have Django version 3 and others that we have in this particular virtual environment. And so now I can create projects using Django version 3, specifically version 3, even though in the global environment I have version 4. Okay, let's look at this. Before I go any further, in the lib, I said in the side package, this is where you will see, these packages installed. We have Django, we also have PyTZ, we also have SQL parse. All these packages were installed in the side packages when we ran the pip install Django command. All right, so now we can deactivate this. If we want to go back to the global environment, we can simply write deactivate. Whether on Linux, on Mac, or on Windows, you just have to write deactivate. That's how you deactivate a virtual environment. So you can go on and create your projects. You can create as many virtual environments as you want. You don't necessarily have to put your virtual environment inside your project folder. You can put it anywhere else. But personally, for organization, I prefer putting my virtual environments inside the project folder. All right, so I hope it makes a whole lot of sense. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, remember to do so. Any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I really appreciate. I want to thank you for your time. I'll see you in our next video. For now, I'm out. Bye-bye.